plaintiff, Natalie Castellano, says by the time she was 17, she was an alcoholic, so she checked into rehab. And that's where she met the defendant. Natalie and the defendant started dating once they got sober. But after she got pregnant, the defendant relapsed and claimed he wasn't the baby's father. So she petitioned the court for a DNA test, and she's suing for breach of contract. Defendant Richard Martinovics Jr. says after he and Natalie got out of rehab, she confessed that she was also a sex addict, so he went to meetings with her to help her fight that addiction. Richard admits that he relapsed after learning Natalie was pregnant because he couldn't handle the stress, and he's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I've almost been sober now for 2 years. When I was 14, I started drinking. By the age of 17, I was an avid alcoholic, basically. In October of 2008, I checked myself into rehab when I was 17 with the help of my mother. And in late November of 2008, the defendant came to the rehab where I was. And basically, we started a friendship. He got out in the mid-January 2009. I left late January 2009 and contacted him when I got out. And we basically started a relationship and tried to use each other for a support system for addicts, because he had gone to the program for a pill abuse problem, doing synthetic heroin, Oxycontin.
Is that true?
Yes, sir, it is, actually.
Go ahead.
And anyways, shortly after we started dating, I got pregnant. It was very unexpected, but we both decided that we were going to keep the baby and raise the baby together. Probably about 2 weeks to 3 weeks later, he relapsed. He began using. He stayed out until 2 o'clock in the morning. He stole/sold my computer for drug money. He stole $40 that my dad sent.
Okay, so how did you respond?
I left in May of 2009.
Is that what they instruct you to do in rehab?
First of all, they tell you not to get into a relationship a year after you get out of rehab.
Because of the stress that might come with a relationship?
That, and you're not, mentally and physically able to take care of another person, especially another person with a drug problem.
Right. You focus totally on yourself.
Yes,
That's
and
the
you need to
whole
get yourself
concept.
better.
Okay.
But
Let me hear from you, sir, before we get to the breach of contract. Go ahead.
All right, like she said, yes, we met in rehab. It was, an unusual place to meet. We got out, we had our relationship, we went to Narcotics Anonymous together. She told me she was also a sex addict. I took her to Sex Anonymous a couple of times. And
is that right?
No, it is not true, Your Honor. I have never been
You never been to Sex Anonymous?
No, sir. No.
You said that like, and I don't intend to either.
No. Not in...
Is there a Sex Anonymous?
Yes, there is.
Well, how do you know that?
Because...
You said that quickly. You sound like you know a lot about it. What do they discuss?
It's basically the same as any other kind of anonymous group.
Well, you kind of mention your name. I'm Tiger Woods and I'm a sex addict. No, I'm just using it as an example. That's an example. I'm just saying, no particular person. I'm just using that name as an example. All right.
And, after a while, we found out she was pregnant. I was about 5 months clean, and we really didn't know what to do, adoption, abortion, whatever, and I relapsed, and that's when she left me.
It was the stress, you believe, that caused you to relapse?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get to why you're suing him. Breach of contract and emotional distress.
First of all, Your Honor, before I had birth, He sent me nasty text messages saying that he wasn't the father, that he wasn't going to give me any money, and then he would say later on, oh, I am the father, I'll be there for you. After the baby was born, he had told me, and we came to an agreement, that he would give me $200 a month so I would stay out of the legal courts for child support. And he had been paying me all the way up until April, and then stopped paying me.
Okay. All right, we'll get to that, but I always have to use a little teachable moment, as they call it now. One, young men should know, and ladies, that when you pay outside of the court system, you may not receive credit. It's a possibility, a great possibility, that when you do go before a judge and the man said, well, Your Honor, I paid $200 a month and we made that agreement on the side. The judge said, well, that's, y'all keep that side agreement, but we're going all the way back to the beginning and you're going to pay the amount that this formula, this legal formula dictates. And so I say that to say, even though you think you're being slick by making a side agreement where you pay directly to the girlfriend, you don't allow the court to have any information on your arrangement, that's a bad idea. Because one, you may be shortchanging yourself. Two, you may never get credit for that. All right? So understand that. But you tell me about the child and whatever you might want me to know. She said you were sending her nasty emails. Yes, ma'am.
I asked the court for a paternity test because he, like I said, was saying that.
Court.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead. Let me hear from you about it.
Nah, I don't know about no text message, but I have a piece of paper here. I mean, it's signed. You said it's all gifted and everything, but she signed it too.
So you do have something? Let me see,
sir.
ma'am. You all made an agreement, as you said. You
Yes,
have a
sir.
signed agreement? You signed?
That is, yes.
All right, and at least he was honorable enough to agree to pay $200 a month, and that's a pretty decent amount for a young adult. Did you pay it?
Yes, it was, I was getting Social Security at the time, and right now, in April is actually when the Social Security stopped.
All right, and do you question the paternity?
I did for a while. I'm very emotional about it. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure it is, but I would really like to know.
Pretty sure, but all right, why don't you go and get the results. Okay. What did you want to say?
When he said his Social Security ran out in April, I actually have documentation that he got a settlement check for $29,000 in February.
Sir, is that true?
Yes, sir, it is.
Why didn't... What's your emotional distress for, ma'am?
Basically for the expenses that I've had to pay out of my pocket for my son. I have medical bills.
No, ma'am. You can't get emotional distress because someone doesn't pay you what they owe you. So is there anything else? Maybe you said he sent you a bunch of nasty texts.
I have the text messages here. He has not bothered.
Emotional distress is defined for the most part as extreme and outrageous conduct that causes excessive stress. And extreme and outrageous don't happen very often.
Yes, sir.
And people fail to pay their bills very often. And men, unfortunately, and women fail to pay child support very often. So that you can't get emotional distress for that. Okay. However, if you've been harassed sufficiently to the extent that it's outrageous, the things that he's texting you and saying to you or doing to you, then you may have a claim. Why don't you read some of the things that you feel are most outrageous? And if they are words that would not be made for television, you could use the initial perhaps.
Okay. On 9/29/2009, he texted me saying that I was loose. And when I finally get to see our son, I'll tell him that your mommy used to have every guy she met poke you while in the womb. Get off my back and let him get it in your back. I don't even care for or about you. I'm a drug addict, always will be, and you're the sex addicted slut who wanted me to go in you.
Yeah, it sounds like some of that stuff certainly sounds outrageous, particularly about what he's going to tell your child.
He told me twice, to have somebody else put their name on my son's birth certificate. and just being nasty and derogatory to me.
Sir, why didn't you pay some out of that $29,000?
Well, as soon as I got the $29,000, it went directly to my mom because of the rent and everything that she has done for me over the years.
Go ahead. State your name.
Kendra Lauren.
Please.
He was burnt in a bad accident. And that's when he started taking pills after that. We took some before, but he really got into them then. And he had third-degree burns. But the medical that I had off that, and what I paid out of pocket, when we were going through the settlement, the attorney told him to give it to me, is which he did.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see who's the father. Now, why are you suing her for emotional distress? She has your text messages, so I'm convinced you committed emotional distress against her. How has she caused you emotional distress?
Well, it was mostly when I checked myself into rehab. She would visit me daily or weekends with our son, and she would lead me on that she wanted to get back with me. She said, I want to get married. I can't wait till you get out. She's like, but I don't want to be with you right now because I want to wait till you get out. So to me, it felt more like she wanted to be more promiscuous. It was like a loophole stating like, oh, well, while you're in the program, I can do whatever I want.
Emotional distress is outrageous conduct. That is uncommon, very common for couples to jerk each other around. I'm gonna marry you, I'm not. I love you, I don't. I'm coming to visit you, I'm not. Let's stay together, let's not. You don't get any emotional distress, Dad. So, and you did not try and disclaim the child today, so I'm not going to give you too hard of a time.
Plaintiff Natalie Castellano started dating the defendant after they met in rehab. But after she got pregnant with the defendant's child, he relapsed and started denying paternity. So she petitioned the court for a DNA test.
I will grant your judgment, ma'am, only for the emotional distress. And that portion of your lawsuit is $2,000. Your breach of contract for $1,200 based on your child support agreement is unenforceable. We don't assess the amounts that parties pay for child support in small claims court. That is something you have to go to family court and file, and then that judge determines how much he is to pay, and the judge will go back to the amount that has been owed since the child's birth. And that judge may or may not give you credit. Based on what I'm hearing today, I would probably give you credit. So tell the judge when you go there, say, well, Judge Mathis said he would give you credit. All right, and you may get a hand.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000 just on the emotional distress. Good luck to you guys. Have a good day.
I'm not trying to have any kind of contact with him, so it's squashed, I guess.
I just want to be there for my son in any way I can.
That won't happen. He's got too many problems of his own to be worrying about his son right now.